Hi everyone, my name is Natalia Bendito and I'm a Principal Product Manager for JavaScript end-to-end developer experience and developer tools on Azure. Together with the Cloud Advocacy team, we have built this application to show you how to get started with intelligent apps using Azure OpenAI, Azure Cognitive Services, and LangChain on Azure. The sample app is built with web components powered by Lit that can be bootstrapped to any front-end application, and because we conform with the chat protocol, we can fetch data responses from the Azure OpenAI and Azure Cognitive Services via standard REST API contracts and using the Azure SDKs from services written in any language. The sample exemplifies a Node.js backend and shows you how to implement OpenAI integration to interface with a variety of models. At a high level, the application demonstrates how a ChatGPT assistant can be used in the context of an application that indexes and processes Markdown documents to extract the most relevant answers to support your customers in their journey. If you're familiar with JavaScript on Azure, you may have heard of our Contoso Real Estate Sample application, a reference JavaScript architecture for cloud-native composable applications deployed to Azure. One of its micro-frontends is a portal where customers can book rentals. The problem with most portals like Contoso Real Estate is that its frequently asked question pages are difficult to maintain, extend, and keep up to date. That is no longer a problem with an AI assistant. For Contoso, we built a chat assistant that will support customers and answer their questions before or after completing a booking transaction. Let's go through the experience. An end user may know exactly what to ask, or they can choose from one of the default questions available. Once the natural language question is submitted to the assistant, ChatGPT responds with summarized information, including a list of next steps, a reference to the documents it gathered the response from, and additional relevant questions the customers may want to ask. Customers may also want to learn more about the thought process behind the responses, and they can do so by expanding the thought process feature. We have also enabled developer settings to demonstrate application configuration, like the option to stream responses for better perceived runtime performance, and to reconfigure the request options to the API. Please notice that the settings panel is part of the application shell and it integrates seamlessly with the web components. At a high level, the architecture supporting the Retrieval Augmented Generation pattern running on Azure looks like this. Before the application is functional, during an initial deployment or successive workflow executions, data is ingested and indexed by the Cognitive Search Indexer service implemented. When the end user submits a question using the front-end web component to the assistant, the request, including a set of headers, will hit a back-end Azure OpenAI service that will then process it according to the options mentioned before, like the context approach that can be, for example, retrieve and then read, also the retrieval mode, which can be full text or vector or even hybrid, a mix of both, the use of semantic features like semantic ranker for optimized relevancy of the responses or semantic captions, and formulate a response that the frontend can render. Because we set the focus on front-end development, the application is as easy to integrate to any modern front-end framework as it is to reconfigure the look and feel, to localize, to extend, or to remove code that doesn't meet a requirement.
Hey, my name is Yohan Lassersa and I'm from the JavaScript Cloud Advocacy team. Now I'm going to show you how to work with this AI project and give you some insight at the codebase. One of the quickest ways to get started is to use Codespaces. This enables a one-click dev environment setup. Once it's ready, it's already set up with all the dependencies you need to run the project. It will also install a selection of VS Code extensions that will help you develop on this project. Deploying the application to Azure is actually one of the easiest tasks, thanks to the Azure Dev CLI. you only have to run the login command and then the command azd-up. This will build and package the app, provision the infrastructure, and deploy the application to Azure. Now, to connect your application to leverage the different resources and services in Azure, you can use the various Azure SDKs that offers first-class support for TypeScript. In this application, we're also using LangChain to compose the various AI components of our application. Of course, you can run the different services locally on your machine or codespaces, so you can use things like the rich debugging VS Code experience that you're familiar with. Our application is using an open chat protocol to communicate between the frontend and the backend. This protocol allows you to easily swap the backend implementation to use, for example, a Python implementation instead. To do that, you basically have to run this azd command, set your backend URL, and then redeploy with azd-up. Last but not least, let's talk about security. We use managed identity and a role-based access control so we don't have to handle any secrets in our code. You can also check this documentation for more information on how you can enable authentication for this application.